For a closer look on the market there, we welcome Eric Wong live for us in Hong Kong. He's the Vice Chairman of NetJets China. Welcome to the show. Eric, it's good to have you on. Look, I think private jets in China are not something that people just naturally think about. We know there are a lot of folks in China that have a lot of money, but we rarely hear about the private jets. Paint us the background picture of the history of private jets, because my understanding is that it was always very, very difficult to have one, let alone fly one.
Yeah, indeed. In China, private aviation is just at the infancy stage. Well, back in 2008, the number of private jets is in China is only less than 50. But now it has already increased to with a fleet size of about 250, and it's growing. In the past couple of years, the number of private jets growth is double digit. So there's a very promising market in the future.
Now, you mentioned marketing. So what is the marketing strategy? I mean, who are you targeting? Are you targeting, you know, as we know it here in the States, either movie stars or celebrities or somebody who owns a really big business, or simply just somebody who's very, very rich? But it's not that simple, right? Because you can target companies, for example.
Well, at the moment, a lot of the high net worth individuals in China are young entrepreneurs who set up their own private business. 50% of the high net worth individuals are actually individuals who have their own private business. So those are our targets, and they are the ones that whose time to them is very precious, and then they are the willing to spend the money to buy time.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, time to all of us is precious. That doesn't mean that we can afford to buy a $25 million jet. Talk to me about the problems in China. I want to focus on this because this is a really big deal. This is why the industry hasn't grown over the past decade, because there are some very serious restrictions. What are the top one or two that you think about most?
Well, I think at the moment, the biggest challenge for private business aviation is the lack of infrastructure. Say, for example, airports. And the second one is air routes. Well, there are very few airports in China, the civil airports in China. There are less than 200 of them as compared to over 5,000 of civil airports in the US. You can imagine a lot of the airports in China, because of the rapid expansion in the aviation industry, a lot of the airports in China are very congested. And getting into one of these airports is very difficult. And secondly is the air route. Again, the air route is very congested. Only 20% of the airspace are open to civil traffic, and therefore getting the private jets onto the air routes in China is very difficult.
By the way,
so these are the major challenges.
For our audience, full disclosure, right? NetJets is mostly owned by Warren Buffett, who you guys started here in the United States. I want you to help us compare sort of the different jets in the U.S. versus the same jets you're going to rent out there in China, and also compare, is there a difference between the type of person who's going to fly here versus there?
Well, the type of person that owning the jets now in China are mainly the entrepreneurs of the big enterprise, and the type of aircraft being owned now in China are big jets like the Gulfstream 450, 550s, and the Global 5000s. Whereas in the US, the fleet is a very wide mix of size in cabin. So in China at the moment, it's a very small group of people owning the jets. They are using that as more of a luxury tools instead of a means of transport.
All right.
But
well,
now,
Eric, I apologize. We're going to be
goes,
coming up against a hard break here pretty soon. So again, I apologize. The bottom line, it's a pretty cool thing you're trying to sell there in China. So good luck to you. Thank you for coming on our show.